The story begins as we watch Cry, a regular person who somehow ended up leading the greatest team of treasure hunters in the world. But what he really wanted was a quiet, peaceful life in the village where he was born. But becoming a treasure hunter even was the most ridiculous dream of his childhood friends. And his childhood friends were obsessed with becoming famous heroes, exploring ancient world packed with riches and dangerous monsters. And he was trapped into mid of all that. Then the story starts with Cry recalling his younger days with his friends as they promised to form a party and visit treasure vault around the world to attain its riches and glory. Currently, an older Cry walks through the imperial capital revealing how treasure hunters are considered stars in the city. They travel around the world to various ruins to loot their treasure vaults for their relics. Along the way, they face monsters called phantoms. But glory and vast riches can be attained in exchange for overcoming these dangers. Cry arrives at the pub where famous First Step clan are holding interview for potential new members. As he explains, clan is a collection of parties that come together to assist one another, and they are also solo hunter treasures, but only they are limit where they can go, and it's vital for them to get into good party and become stronger alongside their comrade. But unfortunately, Cry was unable to do that. After that, a girl from behind strikes out a conversation asking if he's here to form a party too and apologize for the sudden chat. She introduces herself as Runa Ruenbach. She explained that she's level 3 hunter and she's a solo hunter. Then the guy responds introducing himself as Cry Andre. But then when Runa offers to shake his hand, he doesn't take it. And then she is surprised that huge crowd gather for interview, and then she has been exploring solo until now. Then she struggled with her treasure shrine called the Wolf Den, which led her to finally consider joining a party. Then another explorer nearby overheard their conversation, and then they got into the matter and think Runa is out of her depth for trying to tackle that treasure shrine at level 3. And he tells her that a place like that isn't for amateur like Runa. Runa got offended by his tone, and then she pulled out her blade ready to fight him. But then one of the clansmen blew a whistle to get them to stop and informs that fighting outside will result in them losing their chance to joining their clan. Then the two quickly fall back in line as Cry tries to hide himself from them. They enter the hall and Runa is stunned by number of hunters. Before them, she feels bad for Cry about hearing that this is his 5th time at the interview for hunting skills. And hunter skills is everything. Those with talent instantly make a name for themselves and climb the ranks. However, those less fortunate cling to few chances they got. Arc Brave Party catch the attention of Runa Cry, give exposition revealing them to be the strongest party that is currently recruiting. They managed to complete a level 7 treasure vault with 6 members. This proves that they are elite of the elite, and their leader, who is named Arc, is a level 7 hunter. Sadly, they have never accepted a new member. The one of these events, Runa also noticed an empty desk and wonders who is it belong to. Then the Greg, level 4 hunter, interrupts to inform her that the table belongs to the party that originally founded the First Step clan. They go by the name Grieving Souls. They came to the capital as youngsters, but they are so OP and talent that they quickly made a name for themselves as one of the top parties in the city. It also happens to be the party of Gray's childhood friends. Then Greg reveals that the reason for what I turn out is because there are rumors that this legendary party is accepting a new member for the first time in years. That's why a lot of solo hunters also have come to get accepted. After that, one of the participants speaks up asking where the grievers are, and he boldly declares that he only came to join them because they are considered the best, and full of himself. He bragged that one day he will become the strongest explorer ever, revealing he is already at level 4 certified explorer. Then suddenly a girl from management staff called Tino steps forward and confronts him, and without holding back she tells him that get out of here, and some of other staff members rush to calm her down, reminding that they are not supposed to stir up any trouble today. But the girl isn't having any of it, and she snaps back saying that her sister would have done the same thing if she were here. The tension builds up and they two prepare to fight. Then Chris, sensing the incoming chaos, he tells Ruda that they should get out of here before things get messy. Ruda follows him out. Just then Gilbert charges. Just then Gilbert tries to attack the girl Tino, but before he can land a blow, Tino quickly notices Cry's presence and she locks eye with him. And just Gilbert charges, she dodges his attack and corners Cry, instead fighting Gilbert. And Tino turns out calling Cry master and asks him what he is doing here. Then it is revealed that Cry isn't some just random explorer. He is actually the leader of Grieving Souls and the clan master that everyone has been talking about. Cry begins to explain that everything started several years ago when he and his group left their village as fresh newcomers. They quickly conquered several beginner treasure vaults one after another, and one day while exploring a vault, a monster attacked Cry, but one of his friends killed it just in time. The friend praised Cry for acting as a decoy. Then Cry, however, knew the truth. He hadn't even noticed the monster was. After that, he realized that all of his friends share the same dreams, but his talent is not far equal to them. Then he recognized himself as an ordinary guy in comparison of them and started to feel like a burden. And he knew his friends were too kind to not tell him to leave. So he decided on his own to quit the party. When he tried to talk to them about it, they all dodged the topic, saying they still hadn't chosen a leader yet. Then the red-haired guy in the group suggested that Cry should be their leader, and other immediately agreed, saying Cry was perfect for the role since he was good at giving speeches and motivating everyone. So Cry didn't even get the chance to refuse. After that, flashback ends with Ruda and Craig still in disbelief that Cry is level 8 hunter and clan master of the first step. Ark comes to talk to their boss about his lateness, but Tino recalls that a blondie with a fake pretty boy and orders him to stay away from her master. She doesn't want the guy to infect the boss with his superficiality. Ark guesses that he was observing the crowd by blending him with them. Then just Cry confessed that he overslept and found himself among them. The reason why he is not dressed up because he didn't have time to get ready. Then Tino wants Ark to get punished for insulting the master, as she is level 4 solo hunter who is affiliated with clan. She is also an apprentice of Liz Smart, one of the Cry childhood friends and member of the top party. Then Ark asks if master found a good candidate while he was among them. Cry was interested to know if Ark would pick a new member if he said that he had someone in his mind. Then the party leader says that he would trust the guild master's eye and accept them. Ark is against this, but Tino assumes that he is going to choose her and informs Cry that she intended to join him instead of Ark. After that, Gilbert starts to cause a scene again, loudly announcing that he is going to be one to join Ark's party. Then Cry recalls that Gilbert boasted about being level 4 and wonders if he is even in a party at all. Then Gilbert brushes it off and saying it shouldn't matter. Then Cry starts thinking that maybe this guy could become an strong treasure hunter if Ark train him right. But Cry admittedly knows his eye for talent isn't great, so it might come down to luck. Then Cry just tells Gilbert he will recommend him to Ark, but there is a catch, and he asks Gilbert what he thinks is the most important thing for an explorer. Then Gilbert can't answer this, and then Cry tells him not to lose, as he wants if Gilbert lacks strength, he could put his entire party in danger. So Cry needs to see if Gilbert has what it takes. Then he casually mentioned that ever since he became an explorer, he has never lost once. Then the crowd was shocked by this, though Cry think of himself that the only reason he hasn't lost anything because he has never actually been in a proper fight. Then Cry pulls off a ring from his finger and tells everyone that whoever managed to get their hands on this relic will be one to be recommended to Ark. He tosses the ring into the air. Gilbert catches it, but before he can celebrate, Tino sends him flying with a powerful kick. The ring rolls to the ground, and suddenly the entire group erupts into chaos as everyone scrambles to grab. So the place turned upside down. Meanwhile, Cry casually slips out, leaving the participants to wreck the tavern over his little test. And the next day, Vice Clan Master Eva informs that the tavern incident had made the news. She reveals that the venue was completely wrecked due to his recklessness. Cry then immediately asked if there were any civilian casualties, and he is relieved to hear that there was none. However, Eva adds that the Explorer Association wants to have a word with him. Cry wonders if Ark had anything to say about the chaos. Then Eva tells him that Ark just laughed after reading the article. Then Cry shakes his head thinking Ark is far too easy going and suggests that they charge the repairs bill to Ark's account and send him to the association as well. Eva then tells Cry he relies on Ark too much this time, though the association specifically asks for Cry. Cry knows that the branch manager will come to see him instead if he doesn't go. Then he is reluctant to go outside without an escort, and his disguise relics got broken. This is a mask that allows one to change their face so they don't get recognized. Eva doesn't think anyone is going to attack him in broad daylight at the capital, so he feels like it's easy for her to say since it has never happened to her. He accepts that he has no other option but to go, so as soon as he gets there, he aggressively apologizes to association manager for all the trouble he has caused. He assures that branch manager that his actions were not out of his malice and points out that he made sure that no civilian got hurt. As soon as the chaos begins, he just had let it play out, and then he can see that he is trying to rush through. He summons Cry that it only the building that got damaged, which is better than people getting hurt. He also also argues that no one has made a formal complaint yet. The master reveals that he and the owner at the pub are very close association and he knows the guy to be a very nice person. So Cry is sure that he will get forgiven. Then branch manager assistant begs for him to calm down and ask her boss not to scold the lad so hard. Then manager utters that he hasn't even rebuked him and yet she hands Cry a book as Gar suggests that they will still need to make an example of the first step plan even though nobody officially complained. The associative get all sorts of jobs for hunters. Some pay very little, others have short deadlines and a number of them are stupidly difficult and nobody will do them. Hunters call this type of jobs scores. Cry confidently takes a seat after that. He expresses that being given a code to do is quite the predicament he hopes. Then Ga would understand since he is an ex-hunter, but one look from the manager makes him fall in line. He flicks through the book and picks a level 3 job, thinking that it will be easier. He jokes that it's corpse retrieval when it's a rescue mission. Little does he know that he has chosen the most dangerous one. The master goes to see Ark to offload the mission onto him. However, the fake pretty boy is not around and Tino reveals that he was summoned by some nobles. She shows that she ended up getting the ring as she couldn't let anyone else get hold of. So he asks her if she tried to free the girl, think that he is finally going to ask her on a date. But she runs away as soon as she hears that. He got a quest from association. The master unleashes his hounding chain to bring her back. Then Tino believes that her innocent heart is in pieces because he deceived her with the bed, and which she agreed, thinking that they were going for ice cream, not knowing that he's getting her to go on this scrappy go. Cry doesn't see the deception. He understands that it's going to be difficult for her to do the mission alone. So he asks Runa, Greg and Gilbert to join her. Tino is not happy to be working with them, but Greg still finds hard to believe that Cry is clan master of steps. He assumed that this means that he is famous 1000 tricks. The other two are surprised because that would make him a level 8 hunter. Tino steps forward hoping that they understand how great his master is and wants them to fall to their knees. Then Cry pleads with her not to be so confrontal. He recalls 6 years ago when him and his friends first went to the association. Cry was reluctant to enter, but Luke kicked the door down, demanding to know who is the strongest swordsman in the room. When he gave his name, starting that he was the greatest swordman in the world. Liz didn't want to be left out and she said that she was the greatest thief in the world. She also expresses their intention to register as a treasure hunter. The receptionist gave Cry a form to fill and that was when he realized that they had never discussed what their party name would be. Then Cry walks the reception desk to register the party, but deep down he was hoping that they will regret making him the leader. So when asked to choose a name for the party, he picks the ugliest thing he can think of and calls them grieving soal for absolutely no reason. The rest of the group hated it at first, but thinking the name was dark and depressive. But the moment Cry tried to use his awful naming skills as an excuse to stalk down his leader, they all suddenly changed their minds, claiming they love the name. Then fast forward to the present, Cry calls a meeting with everyone he's trying to dump his work onto. Greg is still in disbelief that they can't wrap his head around the fact that Cray is actually the guild master of the group. But Gilbert refuses to believe any of it since 1000 Tricks is supposed to be the strongest person in the capital and Cray looks like he has never even seen inside of a training hall. Tino immediately jumps to Cray's defense, insisting that Gilbert is just too big to understand Cray's power. Meanwhile, Cray is standing there clueless as if wondering what power she is even talking about. He knows that he only gets called the strongest because his friends constantly shower him with undeserved praise. But whenever he asked if Gilbert and others are going to take the job, of course Gilbert refuses because he is still not buying that Cray is the strongest in the city. Greg then tries to shut him up nervously about what could happen if the actual strong person in the capital loses his temper. But Gilbert, being the jug, he just shoves his finger up Greg's nose since Gilbert clearly has no interest in cooperating. Then Chris shrugs it off and moves to Greg. Then Greg is more than happy to accept Cray's request so that the only left to ask is Runa. Given that the quest is in Wolf Den, Cray figures it is perfect fit for her since she was already planning to clear it. Runa isn't exactly thrilled with the group she's struck with, but she agrees to go along with it. Cray pleased to hear that, so he tells Tino she can ask anyone else from the clan to help it if she needs it. Tino practically begging plead with Cray to join the team himself, but he shuts her down immediately with Tino's party situation. Now sorted, Cray turns to leave her, but of course Gilbert can't just let things go and he upsetting that Cray is ignoring him, so he challenges Cray to duel. If he loses, he will join the the tea. Gray, who absolutely hated getting dragged into duel, comes up with a quick fix that he agrees to duel with only if Tino fights in his place. Tino is more happy with this arrangement, mainly because she is furious with Gilbert for daring to insult and doubt her master. She is also eager to show off her skill, and she gives Cry a little demonstration of just how flexible she has become. Then Gilbert might have gotten his face smashed into by Tino yesterday, but he's running his mouth claiming that he has just got caught off guard and that there is no way he will lose to her again. After that, he beats Tino. He says he is coming for Cry next. Cry, already irritated, has absolutely no desire to fight anyone today. But since Gilbert is so cocky, Cry casually points out that Tino is level 4 just like him. Then Tino just says there is no way that she could ever lose to someone like Gilbert, and to prove her point, she drops her weapon on the ground, daring him to fight Runa. And Greg are getting nervous because Tino is strong, but fighting without weapons seems like a terrible idea. Normally Tino would win hand down because even though they are at the same level, she earned all her experience doing solo missions and has ton of practice fighting other people. So she would win, but unarmed. But Gilbert got the purgatory sword, which could trip the odd in his favor if he uses it right, or at least it could have if he hadn't thrown his sword down to deciding to fight barehanded. That was without a question a dumb move. But Gilbert won't tolerate being looked down, so he insisted on fighting on equal terms. Now Tino is even more confident that she will win, so she casually mentioned that she will grab some ice cream with Cry after she's done beating Gilbert up. Then the fight began as she charges him, aiming at his face. Gilbert dodges the first blow, but he can't avoid a follow-up vicious kick to his face that sent him flying just like the last time. It looks like it's over, but credit to Gilbert that he gets back and charges in again. Note that it helps him got caught in a choke hold almost immediately, but at least the guy got some spirit after some effort and training on his part. Gilbert finally managed to break free from Tino's hold, but unfortunately for him, the moment he does, she drops him to the ground with her chop on the back of his head. So he's definitely not getting this time. Tino celebrates her victory. She thanks Cray for helping her become so strong, even though Cray never actually did a thing to train her. Greg and Runa are left absolutely floored by Tino's strength, while Gilbert just can't accept that someone might actually be stronger than him. Since the day he picked up a sword, Gilbert always believed that he was destined to be a hunter. His training allowed him to surpass professional swordsmen with ease, and when he finally reached the age to register as a hunter, he headed straight for the capital and formed a small party to start clearing vault. Up until now, he had never known defeat. Even though Tino isn't fond of him, she still respects Gilbert's skills, so she encouraged him to pick up his sword and keep fighting. But Gilbert stubborn and his pride refuses, so Tino shakes her head disappointed, knowing that his foolish pride like this is a one-way ticket to get him killed. As much as Gilbert hate to admit it, but Tino is right. If he has been in a real fight, he had been dead several times over now. Now he is forced to confront the harsh reality that he is not as strong as he thought right now. Then Cry, casually guessing that Gilbert probably left his previous party due to a difference in his strength, overpowered his flow, caused Craig a spot. Craig goes on to explain that he has dealt with similar issues in his own party, though he didn't quit even if he might have wanted to. Gilbert totally misinterprets this, thinking it seems Cry completely outclassed his teammates, that the grieving soal, the strongest party in the capitals, is mile ahead of everyone. So this gives Gilbert a whole new understanding of what it really means to be strongest. Then Cry notices Gilbert's sword and gives it a light tap just to see that it's capable of his command flame. Immediately a start pouring out of it, much larger than anything Gilbert has never been able to summon. Then Gilbert is absolutely floored that he owned the sword for ages, but he has never managed to produce flame even close to this, let alone control them. The way Cray just did was a mere tap, and even without grabbing the handle in his world. After that, Cry explained that in this world, mana material is the core substances of this world. Even though they can't see it, the way it interacts with treasure vault and create their unique environment is something that is still being studied. He reads a report on how the White Wolf Den was once the home of wolf monster called Silver Moons. They were eradicated due to uncontrolled hunting for their fur, and soon after the treasure vault appeared along with a blood-soaked wolf phantom. The master finds this report to be too scary. Eva points out that he is the one who sent Tina, No, and the others where he feels like they will be fine since the vault is only level 3. Cry is also grateful to his assistant because she's the one who gave him the information about Gilbert's old party. With the blade already spread out, but Master tries to downplay it since he's a collector of relics. He wants to buy Gilbert's weapon, but his assistant advice is against it. The grieving soal party splits profit among its members regardless of the contribution. confusion. So Cry gets a lots of money for doing nothing. The guild master goes to charge his chain relic. After using it, some clan member help him with it. One of guys informs master about wolf phantom that decimated a party of level 3 hunter on the northern road. People suspect that it came from the white wolf den, meaning that there was a mass spawning of phantoms there. Was also been reports of the phantom becoming stronger, so association is in talks about increasing the level of the treasure vault. Cry is surprised to hear that the missing party he sent others to recover were level 5. He checks the jog paper to confirm that. Then clans people are mortified to hear that their master sent Tino and her party of level 4 to a treasure vault where level 5 hunters went missing. Then Cry realizes his mistakes and leaves. He tries to assure himself that the party will be fine and hopes that Gilbert charge his blade. Before heading out, meanwhile, the hodgepodge party can sense something strange about the area. Tino assures them that Cry has already calculated everything and knows that they can handle the situation. Everyone wrote a bill before they left, but the party leader is sure that they will be fine. Back at the HQ, the master is panicking because he messed up. He has no other option but to equip himself and so save the party. He picks as many relics as possible. So Eva comes in just as he is about to leave and notices he is carrying citrus line, which violates imperial law. But he swears that it's not. Then the assistant notes that it has zero safeties. The thing has no brake and it can never have a steer. The relic is infamous detective night hiker and hopes that he has safe landing all the time. While the party are confronted by a wolf phantom that has a weapon and armor, which is in a shock to them, but they brace themselves to face it. Then the party struggled and managed to defeat the monster with some decent teamwork. From that exchange, Runa is sure that a creature of that caliber would not appear in a level 3 treasure vault. Then Runa suggests that they should retreat. The situation is not what they were led to believe. The people they were supposed to rescue might already be dead. But Tino, stubborn as ever, refuses to back down, arguing that they haven't even entered the vault. Yet Greg pushes them, saying survival is more important than any mission. But Tino calmly explains that he is quote wrong. They are not here to collect corpses. She is certain that those people are still alive and they are just following the plan of a level 8 hunter. She goes to say that you and the purgatory sword running out of mana is probably part of Gray's big plan, teaching them not to lean so much on relics. They get closer to the treasure vault and notices several crimson wolves inside, all equipped with armor and weapons. It hits them that the wolf they faced earlier wasn't just some random. There are more. So Tino then explained that the white wolf den was built to accommodate the massive silver moon wolf monster that originally lived here. She is convinced that wolves won't be able to move easily inside the vault due to their size and suggests they had to engage them. But before she can act, Gilbert, being rash as ever, decides to charge at the monster, thinking he can take them down if he just disarms them. Runa shakes her head, thinking he's an idiot, but Gilbert, of course, insists the purgatory sword is stronger than any regular weapon, even without mana. Tino, however, tells him to stop acting recklessly because she is the leader and her job is to bring everyone back alive. She is certain her master is testing her leadership skill and bringing her team home in one piece is bare minimum to pass the test. Tino explains her plan that she and Runa, being the fastest, will draw the wolf's attention while the other will attack from behind. She points out that once they close the distance, the wolf ranged weapon will be useless. She makes it clear that there will be no sacrifices and she won't let anyone to be used as shield. Meanwhile, Cry is flying towards them. His only concern was that Tino survives until he arrives. He doesn't care if she has to use her teammate as shield. As long as she lives back at the vault, team follow her plan. And after some hard work, they manage to defeat all the wolves. But Tino, exhausted, thinks this job is completely unreasonable as they are catching their breath. More phantom appears. Then Tino takes a moment to reflect on her team. She admits that they all in the party lineup isn't bad. Greg works well with everyone thanks to his experience. Gilbert might be a loudmouth, but he's strong. And Runa doesn't stand out much, but her enemy detection skills are spontaneous. And in fact, it's because Runa that Tino has been able to focus on fighting. Then as they take on the new wave of monster, Tino think of herself that her master must have calculated every little detail. So he thinks he's like a god with how perfect his plan is. While fighting Gilbert, then start thinking about his all party member. He remembers how he pushed them too hard, frustrated that they couldn't keep with him. He knew that they were trying their best, but the gap between their abilities and he just kept growing wider. And that's why he eventually left the party. Now though he finally gets it, understand why they were so desperate. He realizes he never considered their feelings and it hits him that he had no idea that fighting alongside a team as equal could feel this good. With that thought in mind, they defeated the monster and make their way into a large room. Tino suggests suddenly senses a presence ahead. She's convinced that it's the boss and it's a big one. Then Greg immediately cautiously suggests that they run out, but Tino, unfazed, points out that if they come this far without a scratch, so why not take down the boss too? Greg remains hesitant and Tino tells him that safe mission don't help people grow, but she admits that caution has its place, but sometimes they just need to go with a flow. Greg, after thinking, agrees that she has a point. Then he explains once a hunter reaches level 4, they can make a living just by completing treasure vault beneath their level. He admits that every time he thought a battle was unwinnable, he avoided it and then he watched many of his comrades die. Tino was sure that Greg joined First Step because he wanted to change that mindset, and she believes that's why her master placed him in his party. Greg isn't convinced, but Tino assures him that her master wouldn't have chosen someone he didn't believe in. She explained that her master's goal was to save all of them and that he's like a god in how he operates. She's certain this group wasn't thrown together by chance. Everything was calculated by him. Runa is still unsure and wonders aloud why he picked all of the people. But Tino, after a brief pause, jokes that it might be because of her big boobs. And without missing a beat, she continues ahead, leaving Runa puzzled and blushing, asking what she even means by that. After that, we see Cray flying over the forest near the treasure vault. And of course, he can't spot Tina anywhere. He grumbles that his relic is way too fast and wonders who the heck makes something without brakes. Then he enters the vault, crashing into wall without the wall. As he flies inside, meanwhile, Tino and her crew are facing the vault boss, a massive white bull. It lunges at them and they manage to dodge all, thinking the same thing. This thing way too strong. Tino then notices the boss isn't wearing a helmet, so she figures its head might be the weakest spot. Determined to overcome this trial set by her master, she presses on. So Gilbert then steps up and blocks the monster attack, while Greg rushes in and gets launched backward from the sheer power of the beast. Tino, quick on her feet, uses her agility to close the gap, dodging every swipe the bull throws at her. Runa observes Tino and she's impressed because there is not a single shade of fear in Tino. The monster then turns its attention to Greg and his sword snaps as he tries to block the beast. Then moves in Tino, but she takes the chance by climbing his weapon to deliver the final blow to take it down. But just as they catch their breath, they notice that Phantom managed to slash Tino's leg. Ruda rushes over, asking if she's okay, but Tina waves her off, saying she's got a potion and she quickly heals herself. Then we see that Grey looks distraught over his broken sword, but Gilbert bluntly tells him to be thankful he's still breathing. Greg agrees inside, saying that he just got to find the missing people now. So Tino hands him the sword of the boss they just defeated. Suddenly, they were ambushed by 4 monsters, all resembling the bull. They just fought. They can't believe 4 of them at once. So Tino feels the pressure, thinking this is way too much even for them. Tino feels like her master has given them a task that might be too difficult for the party. The leader stands out and points to the nearest passage, which is to their right. She is sure that if they can get inside, the bosses will not be able to reach them. Since the ceiling are low and the passage is narrow, the boss are not so dumb, so they block it. And 2 guys decide to stay back and create an opportunity for the girls to escape, since they are nimbler. Tino refuses to leave anyone behind and comes up with a plan to take out one blocking their way. Everyone lands their attack, which gives Tino the chance to fire a blast using Craig's ring. She received training on how to use it from the master. So she hits her target. The boss drops its weapon as it cries in pain. Gilbert gets too eager and dashes in for the final blow, but he is knocked into the next attack. And the next attack after the others can't leave him behind. Craig comes crashing in and hits the bull, and they are shocked to see that the bull fear him. One of them attacks, but Cry is protected by a relic of his. The creature falls back stunned as he reveals that he has 17 lives. He activates some of his relics to perform the end of a series level attack. It looks like so cool, but the dust settles. The creature didn't take that much damage. Cry discloses that his shooting rings are not that powerful. They are all bark and 0 bite. The other monster prepared to attack, but he pulls out the vital around his neck and shoots it with a stuns the boss, allowing them to escape through the passage. The party think that the master lagged behind to act as the rear guard, but he's just slow. Tino recalls how her master and his friends saved her from some bad actors when she was younger. From that day, she wanted to join the grieving soul. Then the flashback ends when they escape into the cave. The master commands Tino on keeping her party alive in this terrible situation. He heals her with one of his relics. Gilbert's commentaries on it, and Cry intentionally reveals that he uses relics for everything. He tells them that he didn't defeat the bosses when they ask what he doesn't think it's the important thing now. He orders them to walk as he leads the way. The clan master doesn't know where the exit is, and it makes him want to puke as memories tend to resurface. Another one from of the past come to his mind. The whole team remembered the new how Cry always buy a strange amulet and odd items whenever he got the chance. He was fascinated by them. Seeing this collection, Liz and Luke asked if they could have a gift since Cry had so many unusual things. The first gift he gave was a bag with a portal capable of storing an endless supply of chocolate. Despite only holding chocolate, the fact that it has infinite space was enough to impress Liz. Liz also found a beautiful bracelet that fit her perfectly, unaware that it had a special properties. It was actually a maze ring, and wearing it confused all the senses that nearly caused her to fall twice. Somehow, Liz's resilience kept her from serious harm that proved her strength. Luke also found an impressive sword in the collection, though it had fine print and it was cursed. As soon as he wielded it, became impulsive, driven to destroy anything around him with a fierce intensity. Although Cry was somewhat alarmed that he was proud of Luke's strength, knowing that the sword was powerful enough to make people take extreme action. This display the courage and resilience revealed the strength of the group and marked the beginning of their training journey. Back in the present day, Cry was more lost than ever, and he was trying to find the exit while looking back repeatedly, hoping no one noticed his lack of direction. This was problematic for Cry, as he feared Tino hadn't spoken to him for a while because she was frustrated with her inability to let them out. Sensing his struggle, Gilbert asked Cry if he had a plan to get them out. Instead of answering, Cry pretended to sense a strange presences behind. Tino reassured the group, saying that their leader had a secret mission to train them, although she had already figured out that they were going in the wrong direction. She had seen the map before they entered and knew the exit was far away, and worse still, the path to that exit required defeating more bosses. Cry kept walking without a clear path until Ruda finally questioned why they were wandering aimlessly. This made Cry realize that they were only getting farther from the exit. Eventually, they reached a wall. Cry decided it was time to turn back to avoid wasting more time, but by chance they stumbled upon the hostage they needed to rescue. This fortunate discovery left everyone amazed as they saw Cry tracking skills in action. Unintentionally, he had led them to their objective, showcasing the keen vision of a true adventurer. Though Cry felt relieved to no longer have to pretend he knew the way. As the group gathered, Rudolph, the leader of the hostage, thanked them for the timely rescue, though Tino insisted that the credit belongs solely to Cry for leading them out. Cry humbly washed off the praise, attributing it all to the luck. Everyone received healing potion, and since hunger was bound to set in, soon chocolates seemed like the perfect treat. Cry provided these incredibly useful items, which had added effect of making him look good. However, he never revealed that the chocolate came from an infinite portal accessible only for this purpose. Though the group was classified as level C, and they were unprepared for these powerful enemies, particularly the strange formidable ghost. Nearly the whole story baffled Gilbert. Typically, a level 4 team could hold its own, and a level 5 team could easily defeat any final boss with weapons alone. These foes, according to Rudolph, were not the usual kind. They encountered a masked ghost covered by a skull, too strong for a level 5 team to handle. In the distance, the ghost hunted alpha wolves, and even the camera reacted to this sheer power. A force possibly tied to the curse of the Silver Moons, and this curse had emerged when humanity eradicated an entire species, and their collective spirit became a powerful ghostly entity. And it seemed like the only logical explanation for an enemy so fearsome that it resonated with the camera. Cry thought of the famed swordsman Thousand Swords, also known as Luke, Cry's a childhood friend. Luke, trained by the master of hanged swordsman, and eventually surpassed him, wielding just a wooden sword capable of cutting the hardest metals. Though Cry admired Luke's strength, and he felt that it was an exaggeration to think this ghost could be on par with the Thousand Swords. Tino seems vulnerable to such kind of opponents, and if this phantom is anywhere near as strong as rumored, Luke would have made sure to kill the monster long ago. Still, he thinks it must be stronger than what he can handle, and besides, he waited for the pretty boy Ark to handle this mission. Everyone inside the cave immediately turns towards Cry for further guidance, while he simply turns away in shame as he has no idea what to do. Finally, he decides to trick them to get some more time and tells Tino that she is the leader of the party and it's her job to lead them. Tino isn't too confident about it, but Cry claims that this would be good training. And becoming the leader, Tino is very happy to hear that Cry trusts her so much and promises that she will not disappoint him. They start walking through the labyrinth of cave, and soon they find the exit of the cave visible in the long distance. However, that gives them more anxiety as they get worried about the phantom showing up. But Rod tells Tino that he will act as a shield for them, so so they can escape safely. Tino shoots down the idea, claiming that they are all returning safely since Cry is with them. Suddenly, they start hearing the howls of the wolves that comes from the exit, and they suddenly start feeling something incredibly strong coming in their direction. And even Cry can feel the presence, so he quickly shields her while thinking about all the relics, and he was including relics that gave him extra life. He currently has 5 extra life, which means on 6th hit he is as good as dead. Finally, the deadly phantoms become visible, walking towards them with his sword. But this scared the crap out of everyone, but to make matter worse, a second figure appears behind the phantom, which is simply too much. Even for the brave Tino, she starts trembling and hides behind Cry, begging him to save them. Cry, however, stops being worried as he recognizes the second figures and wonders what she is doing here. Without even a single word, the mysterious person becomes the fastest, and she kicks the phantom with such a strong kick that it gets embedded into walls. The masked woman walks up to Cry, asking whether everything is okay, and removes her mask that shows that she is none other than the lovely Cry lover Liz. Now all grown up, the young members wonders in awe how a human can be this strong. But this pisses Liz off as she wonders how they can be monster hunter without even knowing who the grievers are. She tells Cry that she came all the way to the city to meet him, but when she arrived at the mansion, she heard that he was out in the cave. To help the party out, she tells him that she needs to talk with her, and immediately moves over to Tino, who was hiding behind Cry. Liz starts taking the poor girl, claiming that she can't believe that Tino is so useless that she can't even survive this stupid cave alone, and had to ask Cry for help. Gilbert thinks that this is too much, and he tried to stop her, but he gets such a strong back kick that he got blasted into the wall. Liz then continues to liberate Tino until she completely breaks down on the floor, but Liz has no plans of her stopping, and Cry is too much to intervene until Tino gets all fours and apologizes to Liz for her failure. He thinks that this is too much and finally intervenes, telling Liz that Tino did an excellent job during the quest, which is all thanks to her excellent training. Liz immediately changes her entire persona, and she becomes a sweet girl who asks whether she has done a good job or not. Suddenly, they realize that the phantom has re-emerged from the wall, and behind him is a great wolf boss, and he has a huge minigun in his hand that pisses Liz off, and she puts her mask back and wolf starts shooting at them. She moves so fast that the time kind of stops, and she catches all the bullets with ease. Then she jumps toward the beast and kills it with a single kick, and then she turns her attention towards the phantom, who is getting ready to attack, and she casually catches the sword barehanded and punches the phantom in the air, and then punches him down to the ground. Poor Tino starts crying, and while Cry feels bad for her, he knows better to not get involved, as he doesn't want himself to be manhandled by Liz, like the phantom who finally dies. After Liz literally punches Ted, finally Liz calms down a little and hugs Cry while claiming that she misses him. Then they safely escape. After that, the next morning, Gilbert comes back to the training ground and gives his magic sword to Tino, claiming that he wants Cry to have it, as he is going to train from scratch once again, as he wants to become as strong as Liz one day. But the other members don't seem that optimistic about that. Meanwhile, Tino thinks about the strange mask that the grievers wear. It turns out that Cry put in order to create those masks for them one day. Cry begins to look around for the slime that is supposed to be in the capsule around his neck. He got it a year ago from the most talented alchemist in his clan, who often gives her final product to him for safekeeping. They were mostly dangerous items, and she had told him that if he became careless with that slime and released it, it could destroy the entire capital. That is why it is very alarming that he cannot find it. Cry knows that if he thinks any more about it, his remaining brain cells will overheat and explode, so he convinces himself that the slime was never in the capsule, and he was worried over a whole lot of nothing. But he goes to the clan building, where his secretary Eva tells him that Treasure Hunter Association want a report on the White Wolves Den. Cry tells her to send Tino with her report because she was the team leader. Eva informs him that Tino is training with Liz right now, and he immediately pies the poor girl. He then asks Eva if something noteworthy has happened in the capital, and she tells him that nothing has happened, but she will start investigating, and he tells her that there is no need, so he decided to pay Tino a visit and leaves everything else to Eva, and begins thinking about how Cry has been correct whenever he has made a prediction. She believes that since he is worried about the capital, something serious and terrible is going to happen soon. In the meantime, Cry reaches the training hall and finds a lot of grumpy monster hunter gathered outside the gate. At level 6 hunter named Seven tells Cry to get Liz under control because he is only one who can tame a beast like her. Everyone else need to practice as well, but Seven is more worried about Tino dying if the training continues. Cry passes his remark of a joke, but the gate of the training hall is opened and he finds Tino lying on the ground while Liz menacingly stands in front of her, badly insulting her and demanding she get up. When she doesn't get up, the violence crazed Liz decided to end her with a powerful kick. Luckily, Cry stops her before she can attack and Liz stares at him creepily, asking if he is really stopping her. Then he affirms that with a smile on his face and says that Tino has reached her limit, so she should let her rest for today. She quickly returns to her cheerful self and tells Cry that she will let Tino rest since she can't fight anymore. But then suddenly Tino grabs her leg and she uses all her strength to get up because she wants to look cool in front of Cry and tells Liz that she can fight more. Liz gets excited to hear this, and as the two girls get ready for the round 2, Cry leaves the training hall because he knows that he will die if he stays there. And outside, Seven thinks that this was Cry's grand plan to motivate Tino to become harder, and Cry lets him believe whatever he wants. After that, they sit down for tea and Seven tells him that apparently the case with the White Wolf's den is still not resolved, but some phantoms are still attacking the people on the northern road, and he asks Cry what should they do, and obviously he has no idea, so Cry hopes that Ark was here right now because he is better than him in everything. Actually, he gets an idea and decides to push the case to Seven and his team and send them to the Hunter Association to meet Gar and tells Seven to think of it as training. Cry happily leaves impressed with his quick problem solving, but one of the Seven's subordinate is not impressed with him and he says that despite being the leader, he has never seen Cry do anything. Meanwhile, Seven tells him that he should not judge Cry so easily because that guy is a true monster. On the other hand, Gar from the Hunter Association thinks the same thing. He believes that while everything seems the same with the White Wolf's den, Cry must have definitely know something because he wants to go there without any reason. Far away from them, in an underground lab, an old wizard is also thinking about Cry's involvement in this recent case. He is a member of secret association called the Akashic Tower, and he is trying to research ways to create treasure vaults artificially by manipulating the enemy energy flowing within the earth. The old wizard is the mastermind behind the plan, and he was behind the mutation of phantoms in the White Wolf's den as well. He never imagined that a high-level hunter like Cry would enter the treasure vault and find out that their plan. The old wizard sees him as a danger and says that they must abandon this location and go to another place to contribute their research because they can't fight him without their head of security who is currently out of town. Meanwhile, Cry has a nightmare about a giant black slime that burns the entire city, and he wakes up sweating because the heat from the burning city was too real. But that turns out the cause of the heat was Liz, who just snuck into his bed. This is nothing new for Cry as he doesn't even get a raise out of Liz because he has been there and done that. She asks him if he is free today because she is taking a break from work and training, and they would use this chance to go on a play date. Cry decides to agree to whatever plan she has because it is better than working. However, as they go to the clan building, they are shocked to find Gak, who came here since Cry kept making excuses. He tells Cry that they need to talk, but Lee just stands up to him and tells him to clean up his mess himself and stop relying on Cry. Gak grows furious at this and complains about her leaving a high priority mission incomplete, but she tells Baldy to stop disturbing their date. They keep on bickering and Cry thinks that he is witnessing a roast battle. Suddenly, the battle of curses turns into an actual fight and Cry asks Gak's assistant to come upstairs so that at least they can talk like civilized people. He reads a report about the White Wolf's den and tells the assistant that there was nothing remarkable when he saw it, but he says that he is worried about something else, but immediately realizes that he slipped and revealed something he should not have. Assistant asks him to elaborate and he acts shady and mysterious as he says that he can't say anything right now, but his clan will cooperate with the association, and he asks her to talk to Ark about this matter from now on because he can help her downstairs. Liz and Gak are still at it and the reception is pretty much destroyed. Desile Liz keeps getting an upper hand on Gak even though they were equally matched in terms of strength. She fools around telling him that he has grown old and his joint must be making popping sounds when he moves this much. Enraged by her insult, he uses his full power, but Liz easily easily dodges his attack and keeps him under pressure. Just then Cry comes down and asks both of them to stop while Gak is in no mood to back down. Liz immediately rushes to Cry's side and clings to him, saying that they should resume their date now. Everyone gets their separate ways and Cry and Liz go out on their play date, and he asks her about the level 8 treasure vault she was exploring, and she tells him that it was really fun and the monsters there are the best. However, she got bored after a while and returned to see him. His thoughts venture to the missing slime again, and he wonders if it will really put the city in danger. Liz asks him why he is looking so down, and he asks her what would she do if country get destroyed without missing a beat. She says that she will run away to a tropical island and enjoy a long vacation. Cry is taken back at her positive and carefree attitude and thinks that he should learn something from her. Suddenly, Liz gives him her bag and goes to subdue a random man on the street. Cry panics as he asks her what is she doing, and she says that this guy was stalking them. Cry tells her that she is being paranoid and she asks her to let the guy go. The man freaks out a bit and he sees Cry and then runs away, which makes Liz think that this was all part of his plan. She says that acting of Cry was too great, and then she asks him why he let that guy go. She wants to know that what is their next move, but Cry doesn't even know what she is talking about. The next day, Cry and Liz go to the most dangerous part of the city, and she still thinks that this is a date. Cry tells her that this is not a date and he is here on business. According to the information he received from Eva, a lot of people have been missing from the slums, and though it is not something that would concern him, otherwise he is worried that the missing slime might be involved in it somehow. As a bonus, there is also a new ice cream shop nearby, and Cry plans to check it out, but that was just doing the bare minimum for his mission. He tells Liz that they should check out the ice cream store first, and she is really happy, but the owner of the ice cream shop is not there, and he is the same guy whom Liz caught last time. But Cry let him go, and he fears that Cry really let him get away on purpose, and now he is here to capture him. He doesn't even understand how he should learn that this ice cream shop was just a front of one of the research bases of the Akashic Tower. He plans to close the shop immediately, but then the door suddenly opens and a redhead named Sophia comes there. The man sees some hope for himself now because Sophia is actually the in charge of all the defense related issue in their organization. Outside their gate, Liz gets impatient and try to blow the door away, but Cry stops her, saying that maybe the shop doesn't open today. She reluctantly obeys him and they go back to their clan. Much to the fake shopkeeper's relief, back in his office, Cry asks Liz if she knows when will the alchemist city return from the level 8 treasure vault. Liz says that she may take some time, and Cry only hopes that she returns before her slime destroy the entire city. Just then Eva comes to the office and tells him that the Hunter Association has formed a team to investigate the White Wolf Den, and seems that they are going all out this time, sending even a relic expert to see if they can find anything new. Cry thinks that it seems to be a big deal, but that doesn't bother him because he is not going there. Anyway, on the other hand, the shopkeeper reaches the headquarters of Akashic Tower and tells everyone that Cry found him. He is terrified because Cry saw through their perfect disguise and they didn't even take any action against him. He shivers, saying that he can't even guess what is going inside Cry's mind, and others also feel clueless in this situation. They turn to Sophia for suggestion, and she tells them that they should fight against Cry and his clan head on. Everyone is shocked, but she assures them they have a chance to win over. Though their enemy is at level 8, she is confident that the security system she has built can win against Cry's clan, and the old mage gives her the permission to do so. She wants they can't back away from this fight. However, the next day, the building of First Step clan is packed to the brim with adventurer. As Tino enters the building, she is shocked to see so many people and asks a guy what the hell is going on. He tells her that they have gathered here to investigate the White Wolf's Den, and Tino thinks this is a bit of overkill. However, the man tells her that Cry was planning to send Ark there first, and Tino is even more shocked. Sending a level 7 hunter like Ark to a level 3 treasure vault means that the matter is more serious than anyone can anticipate. That is why the association and their clan have vowed together a large number of treasure hunters to compensate for that. Soon, Cry and Eva also come there, and Cry asks if all these people have gathered for some sort of party. Eva reminded him she had told him that this would happen, especially since the Gah's team wasn't complete. They needed a skilled adventurer to help out. However, Cry wasn't thrilled with this, so he would have preferred that handsome guy with the perfect smile and Italian colloque. And if he had been there instead to handle everything, Cry also worried about the expense of hiring so many adventurers for the mission. So he suggested dismissing a few, but adventurers protested, saying that they wouldn't go to the White Wolf Den with so few people, and everyone starts panicking over what should be a simple low-level chamber made Cry question why so many were scared, and Eva then asked Cry to address the crowd and calm everyone down. Cry reassured them that it was only a basic training chamber and half the group would be enough. Despite Cry's word, it was clear that some were still afraid. Cry then asked if the rewards from the mission would be enough to cover everyone's pay, and Eva assured him that they would be adding that if necessary. Gak was willing to cover extra expenses, and this still didn't reassure Cry to begin to suspect that Mini Citri might have escaped to the den and could be causing trouble. Determined to keep his composure, Cry allowed the whole group to join for the sake of order. Meanwhile, Leech teased the others for needing so many people to fight, boasting that she could handle the mission alone. The adventurer argued that she could say that only because she was stronger than them. Confident Leech requested a special permission to take Tino and handle the mission solo, but Cry immediately refused, aiming that she would end up overexerting herself, trying to keep up with her master, and Eva appointing Cry as a leader. The adventurer finally felt calm as Cry level 8 power reassured them the mission would be straightforward. Cry, however, made an excuse, claiming he had another task and he would join later. Meanwhile, Anger's group managed to survive the ghost-filled zone, realizing that the spirits there were of much higher level than before. Even though the chamber itself hadn't changed, Leech continued complaining about wanting to go to the White Wolf Den. So, to keep her calm, Cry told her that she had a special mission for her. At that moment, a soldier asked if any extra task needed to complete, and Cry told him no, but warned him to watch out for slimes as they had been appearing in the area. Recently, back with enemy, they saw a large number of adventurers headed in their way. Thanks to Cry's order, the member forged notices to consider using his experiment earlier than planned, though some of his faction wanted to retreat, fearing Cry would destroy them. However, Sophia assured everyone that she had a special plan for Mini Citri, including a defense system that could repel any attack she attempted. Cry, Leech, and Citri were all currently in the capital that make victory seem within reach, so Sophia believed that her defensive strategy would be perfect against these, while Cry, despite his strength, would likely need support to win. Citri, however, possessed the greatest threat, yet Sophia had developed magical technique in her system to counter her, as Citri was Sophia's main enemy and had interfered with her experiment. Sophia was determined to end her life and eliminate any interference in her work. We also learned that Citri had a project similar to Sophia that created a rivalry between them, and they, aware of the competition, they ordered his follower to follow Sophia's command, placing her as second in command. Meanwhile, Anger was dealing with complaint that his team had ordered it and Gak had ordered about this mission, and they could, although seems like Henry grumbled, they were simply cleaning the Cry's unfinished work. Anger assured him that one day he would understand the wisdom of his amazing master. Suddenly, the group received a call instructing them to leave the White Wolf Den immediately. Henry gave the command to retreat with a whistle, which annoyed some of the adventurers. Since there was no apparent enemies yet, they were forced to leave a basic level 3 chamber even when they mocked the extra caution Cry had requested about wild slimes, bringing more ridicule toward Anger. After all, it seemed ridiculous that someone as powerful as him would follow orders from a shrimp scratching his head back in the capital. Anger, however, ignored their sarcasm, explaining that someone at level 8 would naturally be carefree even around weaker people. He added that if Cry wasn't present on this mission, it was likely because he would find it too boring. He even hinted that anyone visiting is going to risk their life that could re-enter if they wanted. The man kept grumbling about having to keep watch for slimes, calling them. So, the week that they shouldn't even appear in the area, they reminded Anger of the time Cry took them on a picnic in a flower-filled area, yet still insisted that they bring their weapons. Since they would be leaving the city, that picnic spot turned out to be infamous Prism Garden Chamber, and everyone realized that he predicted this. The hunters are taken aback by this, and Seven once again tells them that information Cry gives is more valuable than anything else. They can find Vac in Cry's office. Liz is posturing him to give her some work too, because she wants to show off her fighting skills in front of Cry. But Cry is already irritated by her behavior and wonders how long does he have to tolerate her before the hunters can solve the issue in the White Wolf wolves then, and he can just show his face there at the end. Just then, the alchemist Citri arrives. There, she tells Cry that she is here to help him deal with an incredibly strong and clever organization that can become a threat to the entire world soon. Cry immediately kicks Liz and Tino out of the office as he hears the detail about a Akashic tower from Citri. And on the other side of the city, Gar is also ready with his battle armor to enter the treasure vault and prove that his glory days are still not over. His assistant tries to stop him because he is definitely going to pull some muscles and break his back. Then suddenly, Citri comes to see him and shares some important information about their true enemies. Then back in Cry's office, he thinks about how Citri was the only other one of their friend circle who has not overwhelming strength, but she always knew that she won't be able to fight on the front line, and she wanted to do something else to support her friends. That time, Cry was the one who gave her the idea of becoming an alchemist, and that was how she became the greatest alchemist. Citri tells Cry that the slime she created has the ability to rapidly adapt to the surrounding, but evolve. But it is an unstable, failed prototype. However, she made sure that it will never target her or Cry. As he freaks out, thinking about the rest of the city is still in danger. He was told Citri that he doesn't know how and when the slime went missing, so she simply believes that it must have come out of the capsule and escaped through the drainage. Cry is a bit relieved that she trusts him blindly, and then Citri says that there is something else she needs to talk about, which can be even more dangerous than the runaway slime back in the White Wolf's den. Seven then learns from the reinforcement that Cry is not going to join them anytime soon, and he did not allow Liz to come either. Seven is then relieved that he didn't send the wild Liz here, and then decide to give all the treasure hunters a pep talk. He asked them if they are prepared to fight a slime, and all the hunters reply that even kids can defeat the slime, and they don't need to worry about them at all. And Seven knew this would happen, and he curses Cry for not giving them more helpful information. Just then, one very ugly hunter decides to go into the vault because he thinks coming up with strategies is for weakling. Everyone mocks him, and Seven says that he can happily become the first victim of the monster, and they will learn something from his death. The ugly calls them a bunch of sis as he heads inside, and then someone timidly raises her hand to ask a question. The redhead looks a lot like Sophia, the defense head of Akashic Tower, but she claimed to be an alchemist belonging to Cry's clan. She says that she worked together with Citri on researching slimes, and then takes out a vial of medicine, saying that it can kill any slime, no matter how powerful it is. After that, Seven pumps up the treasure hunters, telling them to aim for glory, but return home alive. The investigation begins. As the day ends, they find nothing but the wolf phantoms. They are slightly stronger than normal, but Seven wonders if Cry was wrong this time, but thinks that it will be a good thing if that is true. Just then, the ugly adventurer with a negative IQ comes there and says that if everyone around there was not afraid of slimes, the mission would have already been over by now. He goes to the forest to water a tree and curses Cry for giving orders, but not having the balls to come to the site of action. Suddenly, he hears a strange sound and goes to check it out, and he is shocked to find two men and a huge chained wolf. The men belongs to the Akashic Tower, and they are here to put Hulk's nut inside the wolf so that it can become super strong and take down as many hunter as it can. And just according to Sophia's plan, they realizes something is wrong when he sees the giant injection and rushes ahead to beat the two guys. He knocks out one guy, but the other shoots fastball at him. He blocks them too, but before slapping him, he then picks up the tall guy to thrash first and ask question later. The tall guy asks if he was sent by Cry, but he says that this is all him. While he's plumbing this guy, his partner injects the power boosting serum into the wolf, who suddenly start melting on the outside and become even more dangerous because it was two guys declare that this monster will seek the greatest amount of mana nearby and absorb it to become even stronger. The monster instantly sucks the mana out of two wizards, and Gain blows the warning whistle to alert everyone. Seven tells everyone to get ready to fight as soon as he hears the whistle, and they gather outside the forest armed. Soon, Gain comes running severely injured and missing an arm, and he says that Cry was right the entire time, and a powerful slime monster is present in the forest. Just then, the wolf phantom, who was turned into slime because of the melting serum, comes there, and Seven shoots an arrow at it, aiming to destroy its leg. Before anything else, the magician blasts fire and ice attack at the wolf slime, but nothing phases it. Meanwhile, Seven and the healer go to check up on Gain, who tells them that he saw two mysterious bastards injecting the wolf phantom with something and turning it into slime. The wolf slime comes out of the magic barrage unharmed, and Seven decides to try physical attack. He He aims his bow at slime and rapid fires half a dozen arrows, but they don't do any damage to the wolf slime. 7 is shocked to see that neither magical nor physical attack work on the slime, but he still tells the hunter that they will fight for as long as they can. The slime wolf start attacking them, and 7 tells them to keep their distance and evade the attack because the monster is quite slow. He then runs to redhead Sophia and asks for the anti-slime chemical she had. She tells him that the slime would self-destruct if he touches the medicine, and 7 takes up the mission to make sure that happens. He starts running as he tries to lure the wolf slime, who suddenly leaps at him. 7 quickly planted the vial in the ground and gets to the side. The wolf slime falls to the vial and breaks it, and it touches the chemical. Numerous explosions take place inside its body. Everyone thinks that this will be the end of the fight, but the wolf slime eats up the explosion and still survives. 7 is disheartened because the wolf didn't turn out to be a slime after all, and it would have died. The armor guy next to him says that Cry said it was a slime-like creature and not a slime, and 7 begins cursing him and the grievers. Suddenly, Citri arrives there to help because she literally begged Cry to put her in charge of the White Wolf's den. She tells 7 that the reason they can't harm the wolf slimes is because its dense mana is acting as a barrier. She is interested in this unique monster she has never seen before, but one quick look at it and she figures out exactly how did the wolf phantom melt and turns into a slime. She approaches the dangerous monster casually, dodging its attack, and she realizes that it's hunting people with most mana to restore its body to normal. She pies it, thinking that it is someone failed experiment, and decided to mercy kill it. She throws a vial at the slime wolf and asks 7 to shoot it. This upgraded version of Hawkeye accurately shoots down the vial and wolf slime head. With that, she tells him that it was anti-mana metal that nullifies the monster defenses. Just then, Gak also arrives there in his full battle gear, and 7 gets taken aback on seeing him like this. Citri explained that she asked Gak for a lift earlier because unlike her sister Liz, she couldn't just run all the way here. That doesn't clear 7's question, so Citri tells him that she has an idea about what just happened and who is behind it. She leads everyone to a camp where she explained the existence of Exit Tower and its leader master, Magus. The big shot officer, Burkard looking guys say that Magus was banned from the Imperial capital long ago, and she asked them if they really think vans are useful. She tells them that this world is based off the Akashic Tower and not Sophia, suggests that they might have a lot of important equipment. Citri really knows this girl, and she affirms saying that it is true, and to stop anyone from finding their research, Akashic Tower preparing for battle. She is determined to stop them from their illegal and dangerous experiment, and for that she asks everyone to follow her. She says that she is not Cry, but she will try her best. Later, as everyone gets ready for the fight, 7's assistant says that Citri seems quite courageous. He asks him not to underestimate that girl because she uses the fact that she is weak to utilize any means possible to win, and in that sense, she is as much as a monster of the other grievers. On the other hand, Liz is grinding on Cry's lap while asking him to let her go and help Citri because she is the biggest, but he firmly refuses to entertain her tantrums. Deep inside the White Wolf's den, in the hideout of Akashic Tower, the big shot are reading an instruction manual left behind by Sophia. She has written that they should release the captured phantoms one by one, but the men don't agree with that because it would make it easier for the hunters to defeat them. Even though their master has given full authority to Sophia, the men think that a woman cannot know anything about war, and thus they must take charge of the situation. They decide to ignore her instruction and launch all the phantoms at the same time outside the cave. Citri and the other adventurer are interrogating the two members of the Akashic Tower they have captured. Citri promises to let both of them go free if they can tell her the location of their master Magus. The two dumbasses are ready to sacrifice their life, but their master Magus' location is not going to be revealed by them. But that was actually a tricky question, and Citri just wanted to confirm that Magus was indeed the mastermind behind the whole operation. She tells the two prisoners that they can do it the easy way or the way she likes. They refuse to talk, so she pulls out a truth serum to use on them. But the government officials have the book of law stuck inside their ass, and they tell her that using their things that can manipulate other people's mind is against the law. Citri just asks them if they care more about the law than catching Magus, and even Gak tells her side, telling the official to let her do her job. She assures everyone that she was just playing mind games and the truth serum is just some exotic fruit flavored Gatorade. She drinks it all, and then suddenly a loud roar rattles the camp. Everyone goes outside and finds a giant wolf slime coming towards them, and this time it is red and faster than the previous one. Citri says that they will need to analyze the barriers around it to destroy it, and for that she needs the tankers to stand in front of the monster and endure its attack. Despite being terrified, a tanker does as she says, and the monster instantly sends his shield flying. Citri then commands the magician to attack the wolf slime from all sides, while she figures out that its magic barrier makes it immune to close combat attacks. She wonders how can they deal with it, and then suddenly a blue wolf slime comes there. Everyone panics and thinks that they should retreat immediately, but Citri says that she never knew Exit Tower had idiots in charge when it is supposed to be an organization of researchers. She tells everyone to stop attacking and retreat to safety, and just then the two monsters come face to face and they begin crumbling upon each other, and Citri explains that the wolf slime go after the enemy with the most amount of mana, and that makes them attack their own teammates. Soon more wolf slimes come there and begin fighting among each other, while the two prisoners are shocked to see their powerful weapon fall back inside their base. Magus lectures the morons who made this mistake and didn't even stop after seeing the first two monsters fighting with each other. Sophia is in touch with them through a communication device, and she says that they can't do anything about the monster now, but they have more tricks up to their sleeve, because she tells everyone that the situation outside has changed because Citri and Gak have joined the hunters. Magus Loki panics on hearing Gak's name, but Sophia says that they still have a good chance to win, as she says that retreating is out of question because the hunters have two of their men as prisoners, and even if they don't speak up, Citri will find out the location of their base sooner or later. She says that they should lure the enemy into their base before they can get ready for it, and then destroy them all with her master's trump card. First, she wants to deploy a crazy strong beast called Malice Eater to overwhelm the hunter, but since it is still in training mode, someone needs to take control of it, and she tells the man named Flick to screw up the last task, that this is the chance to show his full potential, and ask him to control the Malice Eater to round up all the hunters. Flick is taunted by her bird, and he swears before Magus that he will lure the hunter to the base. Back to the base of treasure hunters, Sophia watches Citri busy with work and begins thinking how Citri was always a genius who had no competition. She was awfully motivated and hard work, and not Sophia often felt insecure of being in her shadow. Suddenly, someone approaches her and snaps her out of her thought. He begins talking about how her anti-mana medicine did a work on monster earlier because that wasn't a slime, and Cry should have told them about the details. He then quickly changes the topic and asks her why are the two prisoners staring at her, because as far as he is concerned, she is not the most attractive in this camp. Sophia says that she has no idea about that, and Seven tells her to come to him if anything happens. Soon after that, Citri figures out the location of the Exit Tower base by analyzing the terrain and the flow of mana in the region. Everyone is surprised, and then Citri asks the prisoner if her guess was right. They panicked, and their reaction was enough to confirm her theory, and they immediately call out to the redhead alchemist to free them, calling her Sophia. Then Hunter asks what they are talking about, and Citri says that Sophia is her alchemist and a student of Magus. She has tried to find her for a long time but could never find some more than a trace. She believes that capturing Sophia and Magus are absolutely necessary to destroy Exit Tower, and she plans to settle the score with Sophia for good this time. Not far away from them, Cry, Liz and Tino are approaching the base. Liz basically dragged him all the way here, and Cry thinks that he is going to die because his relics are not fully charged and he doesn't have enough safety rings either. Back at the camp, the hunters are heading to Exit Tower base, and the ugly ass hunter tells Citri that if he had put faith in Cry's word earlier, he wouldn't have broken his arm, and he is eager to know more about Cry. Citri says that he is the man who will become a level 10 hunter one day. Then the ugly guy is surprised to hear this, but after everything that has happened today, he believes that Cry is just so strong. So Citri says that Cry is strong, but even if he was bigger than a rabbit, he would still be the best treasure hunter among them. Just then, lightning passes through the cloud, attacking everyone's attention, and the very next moment, a powerful lightning bolt shot directly at Citri. It was shot by a guy named Flick, who is riding a flying lion monster while boasting about his ultimate spell that can kill anyone instantly. After that, he gets down to the ground where all the hunters have been knocked out and says that now he will prove to the master that he is better than Sophia. To his shock, Citri suddenly gets up and tells that she used this level of spells because there are worse things she has experienced in high-level treasure world. Flick freaks out because it was his ultimate spell, but then Citri shoots Seven with a water gun, instantly healing him, and he charges at Flix and knocks him out before attacking the lion monster, who easily knocks him back. It attacks him, but then suddenly Ka comes there and slashes the monster in half with his axe. While Citri heals everyone with the water gun back in the base, Magus is furious because the Flick only took one of the monster with him. Then he was supposed to take all of them. His subordinate tells him that Flick's ultimate attack was useless and the hunters are still coming towards their base. They want Magus to escape while they hold off the hunter, but he is opposed to that idea as he declares that they still have a trump card and Sophia. Until both they have lost, they cannot abandon their base. He says that watching over the battle of his disciple is the duty and everyone is moved to tears. Magus commands them to keep fighting with all their strength and his subordinates swear that they will. Meanwhile, Citri instructed everyone to walk. Gar praised the potion, calling it a lifesaver even though it resembled nothing more than a water pistol. After that, we saw Citri and others have found the entrance to Akashic Tower base, but Seven doesn't think that they should go in without preparation. Gax tells him that he is all the preparation they need, and then he asks Citri and Seven to trust him and head into the cave because he wants to show Liz that he has still got the ace in his slave. So this is recap of the grieving soul, and if you like the video, please subscribe and please like the video and share it with your friends. Thank you guys. See you next time.